Most of the cases, we used to get a single baby only. So now if you'll see here, if you'll notice it, some animals, like suppose if you take goat, sheep and all, they will give birth to two babies, three babies also. That is what it is. Suppose if you take dog, even 6, 7 it will give. And pig if you take, even maximum 24 babies it can give birth. That is what. So that is based upon their system. Like, but humans, most of the animals you can take cow, horse, elephant, and all. They used to give birth to only single baby. So if these are giving twins or more than one baby, so during the cell division, if unfortunately they will be split into new growths, then that is also will develop into a new baby, because it will be only single cell will become into multicellular current. So that is what it will happen. Okay, Kevin. So now if you notice it, in this embryo stage, nobody can identify what kind of baby it is, either a male boy or a male baby or female baby, because no body part is developed. That is what we can say. The features of the baby cannot be developed in this embryo stage. So once this 8 weeks over, then only slowly the body parts. That is what I said. 8 weeks means how many months, guys? After 2 months only. Understanding? So 2 to 3 months period only. Even till 3 months, we are unable to determine the sex. Understanding, like male boy or female boy. So once the 3 months over, then only slowly the baby used to get all the features of body. That is what you might be see here. Have you seen, guys? Hands, head, ears, eyes, and as well as legs. Everything slowly, other parts of the body is also will start developing. So that is what basically third month only it is possible to, after third month only it is possible to determine the gender of a baby. That is what it is. But it is completely prohibited in our India because of so many are killing. That is what a fetus killing, a mother's fetus killing. We can say baby girl means they are killing inside mother's womb only. Correct. So that is what they're restricted so much. It is. So it is even illegal act, but still it is going on every year. So many millions of death cases, killing of fetus, but still it is government is taking very strict action. So now this is all about how this fertilization will take place and how the new baby will form. Have you understand, everyone? Please respond. So when we can identify the features of a baby? Only when it is the baby will comes into the fetus stage, then only it is possible to identify the what it is, the features of any baby. So now if you'll understand this, have you clear, guys? Please respond. So now if the fertilization won't takes place, then what is happening, guys? Suppose if the male gamete is not produced or male gamete is not reached to the female body, then what will happen? That egg is not will stop. Understanding? So eggs will release monthly. So it is like what we can say. They are not going to wait for male gametes. So they'll release. If the male gamete will come, they will fuse and they will form the baby. If the male gamete is not coming, then what will happen? After a certain period of time, they will die, and that the death egg or else a dead egg or unused egg, it should not stay inside the body. So it should become outside. That is what we used to call as sexual cycle in females. Sexual cycle in females. So this is only we used to call as a monthly cycle, or else we can say that is only menstruation period. Okay, so this is what we are going to study now. So when it will come, guys, once the fertilization won't be takes place, then the further process, if the fertilization will take place, we already studied what the process will take place. It will form the baby. So now if the fertilization won't be takes place, then what is the process will take place, guys? That is what? A menstruation. Now we are going to study what is this menstruation and how it will take place and what is the precautions we have to take care during this and what is the symptom. That is all we will study now. So if you will notice it here, basically a sexual cycle in humans, human females or women, or you can take animals also, it is used to notice it. But because animals we won't care much, that is why it is not observed that much. But females or women, We people, because as we are humans, we people can notice it. So remember, when a girl child is born, you can see her ovaries already they contains many thousands of immature ova. That is what we used to call as eggs. When even a girl child birth time itself, they will born with the hundreds, thousands of eggs in their female reproductive system. But all are what? Immature eggs. That is what we used to call. What is the ovaries? What is the plural form of ovaries, guys? Ova. So during the birth time itself, thousands of understanding immature ova is present inside the follicles. Understand? So now when a girl reaches the age of puberty, that is what we used to call as maturity stage. So immature stage already follicles contains thousands of eggs, but there are immature eggs. So once the girl reaches to the age of puberty, then one follicle, any one of follicle, how many follicles are there for girls? Basically, so they're having how many? Please respond. So they're having two follicles. Is it yes or no? So they're having two follicles. One is this side and another one is this side. So that is what we used to say embryos. So these follicles, any one of the follicles will develop the matured egg. And then what will happen? For the time, it will form a mature ovum. So on maturing, the follicle will start burst and the egg will start shoots out of the ovary, so that the released egg, any kind of ovary, it will start entering into the fallopian tubes. Then further process it will take place. That further process now we will discuss. So this bursting of these follicles and egg is coming outside. This process is only wish to called as the bursting of this one. What is this? Follicles and or else, egg is coming outside from the ovary. That is only wish to called as ovulation. What we wish to call, guys? That process is called as ovulation. So ovulation means simply I can say release of an egg from an ovary, we can say, or else release of an ovum from an ovary is only called as ovulation. Please all of you write it. So what is ovulation, guys? Once a maturity stage is occurs when the girl baby reaches to the puberty period. So the embryos which are present inside, how many embryos we have? Two embryos. Female reproductive system is having two embryos. So any one embryo, that is what embryo is only called as follicles. So they will start burst and they will release the egg. That releasing process only we used to call as ovulation. So release of an, please write, release of an ovum. So ovum also we can call it as what, guys? We can call it as egg from an ovary. From an ovary is called ovulation. That is. So now you can see here, basically if a girl is healthy, if there is no kind of health disorders, or else all food habit is good, and as well as if she is living in a good conditions, atmospheric conditions, there is no fluorine water contents, etc., all the influence. If the girl is healthy, it's a normal healthy girl, then ovulation takes place on the 14th day of the beginning of menstruation cycle of 28 days. Basically, if you take calendar, so we're having maybe 30 days, correct? So for example, if you imagine, so this is the first day and this is the 28th day. Do you understand? So now here, so the ovulation time, basically it will take generally it will take place between the 12th to 16th day. If it is a normal and a healthy baby, like healthy girl or woman, basically exactly the egg will be released on when, guys? It will be released on 14th day. You understand? So 14th day is the generally when the egg is releases, beginning of the menstruation cycle of 28 days. So ovulation takes place in the middle of the menstruation cycle. Understanding? So 14th day in the middle of 28 days it will start, and later in human females, basically the ovaries are start releasing ovums or eggs once every 28 days from the age of puberty. That is what a menstruation we used to say. So every 28 days, a mid of exactly like 14th of 28 days, it will release the egg. So from that, it will start developing again. So the 14th egg is developed egg is released, so that the further process will take place. If the further process is not takes place, it will leads to the menstruation from 28th day. So 28th day, or it will may delay 2 or 3 days for some based upon their health conditions and all. So 28th day, the menstruation will take place. So once again, after what is happening, another follicle will start developing the egg. So the egg, it will take time. This is the period where the egg, it will take time to develop, and the ovulation period. This is only used to called as what? Ovulation. So ovulation basically it will take how many days? What 12 to 14 days it will take. So this ovulation, in this time, what is happening? The follicle, any follicle will develop the egg and it will start releasing, ready to release. So once the egg is well developed inside this embryo, then only this embryo will blast and that egg will start coming outside. So that basically will takes place from 12 to 16th day max, if you are healthy. If not, sometimes it may delay also, or sometimes early also it may be formed based upon our food habits and as well as the type of climate which we are living. So, but basically in human females or girls, the ovary starts releasing ovum or egg once every 28 days from the age of puberty period. So now if you see here, this girl's ovulation starts when they attain the puberty. So before, already eggs are present, but the immature eggs only will present. So the ovulation does not take place every day after puberty. That is what you have to remember. So it takes place after a period of every 28 days. It does not like every day one egg is releasing, only monthly once. That is what almost we can say once in a month, or else 28 days exactly it will take place. So before this, before every ovulation, the inner linings of uterus becomes very, very thick and they will soft with a lot of blood capillaries. That is what now we are going to study. So let us understand what is menstruation. For example, now egg is released. When it will egg is released, guys? Basically, so egg is released by when? Basically, it will release it by between the 12 to 16 days, or else if you are perfectly all right or healthy, basically it will be released on the 14th day of 28 days of menstruation cycle. Now, once the menstruation cycle will start, if the fertilization will take place, then what will happen? The egg will come and will stick to the, where it will draw? Fertilized egg will come and will stick to the where, guys? It will come and will stick to the walls of where? Walls of uterus. No. So now, if the fertilization won't takes place also, you can see once the egg is released, slowly the walls of uterus is filled with the blood capillaries and all. Because if fertilization will takes place, the egg is embedded inside this uterus only. Is it yes, guys? Inside this blood capillaries only. So here, if the fertilization won't takes place also, or takes place also, after every ovulation, immediately a signal message will comes to the uterus walls, where the inner linings of this uterus becomes very thick. You might be see they will be filled with the blood capillaries. All the walls. This is what the complete uterus walls is. Becomes thick and soft with a lot of blood capillaries or blood vessels in it. So now these changes in the uterus are necessary. Why? Because in case of egg is released and if it is fertilized by the sperm, then what will happen, guys? This uterus only need to keep it, this fertilized egg. Yes or no? Please respond. Nobody is saying yes. So that is what. So if it is in case, if it is fertilization will takes place, the fertilized egg need to implant. Implantation should take place in these walls of this uterus only. That is why the walls of uterus will become very thick and soft. If not, if that suppose it may not fertilization won't be takes place, then what will happen? The sperm is not available by the time of ovulation, then the fertilized ovum, understanding, does not takes place. So that what is happening? So the ovum is not fertilized, So this thick and soft uterus lining having lot of blood capillaries in it is not required for the further development of the baby. So that what is happening? So the unfertilized ovum dies within a day. That is what is the lifespan of the egg, guys? What is the lifespan of the egg? That is what I said, 24 days. Understanding? So the sperms used to arrive 3 days. That is what 3 days means how many hours, guys? 72 hours. Yes. So 72 hours. The sperms used to alive 72 hours. This is what a male gametes, and female gametes is only alive 1 day, or we can say 24 hours. Sorry, 24 days I reckon. 24 hours. So after 24 hours, if this ovulation period of 24 hours, if the sperms is not reaching, then this egg will die. Then what will happen? This once it will die, then it will come to the inner walls of this uterus. So along with that, so that the breaking of the uterus lining process produces blood along with the other tissues. So that is what this blood and the other tissues come out of the vagina in the form of bleeding. So this process, it will take next 14 to 28 days. So this all, and basically on the 28th day, this all the blood vessels or capillaries, everything along with this dead egg, everything will start coming out from the female body. That is what we used to call as in the form of blood. That is what we used to say bleeding, we can say. So in the second picture you might be seeing. So once this thick inner walls, it's a breakdown. This breakdown process only we used to call it as disintegration. What we used to call it as disintegration. Understand? So disintegration means what? Once the egg is dead, after a 1 day, if the no sperm is available, then the thick and soft uterus linings, all the whatever it contains, these blood vessels, everything, they will start breaking of the uterus lining, and it will produce blood along with the other tissues. So this blood and the other tissues, and as well as the dead egg, everything, they will come out through the female reproductive body, that is in the form of bleeding. So this breakdown and removal of the inner and thick softening lining of the uterus along with its blood vessels, that in the form of bleeding, that is only called as menstrual flow, or we used to call it as menstruation. Understanding? So this coming, the once the fertilized egg is not formed, then the egg will die, and it will come with along with the blood vessels and the capillaries which are present in the thick inner walls of the vagina, sorry, this uterus. Then this everything will come outside from the body. That is only we used to call it as menstruation. Understand? So this menstruation basically will take place 28 days or 30 days. So that is only we used to call it as every month it is used to repeat. That is why we used to call it as menstruation cycle, we can say. Okay. So in everyday language, menstruation is called as general common language. We used to call it as periods, we used to say. So this is the general language we can say, because it is now every languages, all the languages, any state if you go, means periods only is the common language which we used to use it. So this is all about what is menstruation cycle. Now if you hope you all understand, but if you'll understand this, now we will describe the menstruation cycle point wise, how it will be reproduced in the examination from the 14th day to 20th days. What will happen and how it will be takes place, this menstruation, everything we'll study now. How the menstruation cycle will start and what age it will start, how this ovaries, eggs will release and on. In detail we'll study now. So first of all, if you'll understand this, please write what is menstruation or menstrual flow. Please write definition. What is menstrual flow? Right. The breakdown and removal of and these two pictures you have to draw, guys. It is very simple only, you have to draw in your classes also. So sexual cycle in females or menstruation, right? The breakdown and removal of the breakdown and the removal of a breakdown and removal of the inner thick and soft lining of the uterus, inner thick and the soft lining of the uterus, soft lining of the uterus, soft lining of the uterus, along with its blood, along with its blood vessels in the form of blood vessels in the form of vaginal bleeding. Vaginal bleeding is called menstrual flow, or we can call it as what, guys? Menstruation. Okay, or we can say menstruation. So this is all about it. So till here you have to write it, and from here how this menstruation period, periods, how this menstruation cycle will takes place point wise, we will study in the next class. Next class we'll study what is menarche and menopause, and as well as birth control and birth control methods. That's all we'll study. Okay, so with this I will stop, and tomorrow we'll meet. Thank you, everybody. And you
Thank
have
you,
to
sir.
draw this picture, this both
Thank you,
pictures also. And the exam, if they will ask you what is sexual cycle in females and menstruation, then you have to draw these diagrams, and you have to explain it according to your convenience. Okay. So if it is a 3-mark question, try to draw and explain. Then it is good for you to also you score full marks better than everyone. Thank you. Everybody will meet tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.